everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I thought we would do something a little bit different, change up our scenery a little bit. I thought we could have a little chat, sit down and talk about what I consider to be an essential nutrient that I also feel does not get enough attention, and that would be iodine. So if you are on a carnivore or animal-based diet, you might be wondering if you need to supplement with iodine, or, maybe you're getting enough from the foods that you're eating. Either way, stick around because we're going to break it all down, including the pros and cons, some scientific facts, and some practical tips. So, what is iodine and why do we need it? Simply put, iodine is a trace mineral and it is an essential nutrient that the body actually does require so that it can maintain, proper function, particularly for your thyroid gland. It's found naturally in some foods, and it's also added to others, like iodized salt, for example, and it is available as a dietary supplement. As an example. So the body cannot actually produce iodine on its own, which is why it actually does have to be obtained through diet or supplementation. Iodine is a critical component of the thyroid hormones thyroxine, which is T4, and triiodothyronine. I may have been saying that wrong. That is actually T3. These hormones regulate a wide array of biological processes in the body. Just a few examples: growth, development, metabolism, and your energy production. So why we actually need iodine, there are a few reasons. One of them is your thyroid hormone production. Iodine is critical for that synthesis of T3 and T4. The thyroid gland itself absorbs iodine from the bloodstream. It incorporates it into those hormones and then releases it back into the body to regulate various systems. So without sufficient iodine, the thyroid cannot produce enough of that hormone, which then leads to imbalances and even disorders such as hypothyroidism or goiter. Another reason why we need iodine is to regulate our metabolism. Thyroid hormones control the body's basal metabolic rate, which is BMR, and that's actually just the amount of energy that is expended at rest. These hormones are going to influence how efficiently our cells can convert the nutrients that we take into energy. So, ensuring that our body has enough for its cellular processes. Another reason is energy levels. Iodine directly affects energy levels through its role in metabolism. So by regulating the speed at which our body burns its calories, it's determining how much energy is available for physical activity and the other vital functions. So insufficient iodine can actually cause fatigue or sluggishness, even difficulty concentrating. Another thing is growth and development. Iodine is crucial during pregnancy, infancy, and childhood. It's going to support the development of your brain and nervous system, and a deficiency during pregnancy actually can lead to, I think it's called creatinism in a baby, which is basically meaning that it has intellectual disabilities and growth delays. And don't come at me if I'm saying these words wrong. I am not a doctor. I'm just this average old layperson over here just trying to break it down as easy as I can. But another reason is temperature regulation in our body. Iodine actually contributes to maintaining your body temperature by controlling the heat production through metabolic activity. Thyroid hormones enable cells to produce energy, and energy generates heat as a byproduct. Now we're going to go on to what does iodine actually do in the body. First and foremost, thyroid hormone synthesis. Our thyroid gland takes up the iodine, like I said earlier. It combines it with the amino acid tyrosine to produce T4 and T3. T4 is converted into the active form, T3, in tissues such as the liver and kidneys. So T3 is going to act on nearly every cell in the body, influencing gene expression and the protein synthesis that's happening there. Another thing is regulation of our metabolism. So our metabolism involves the breaking down foods to generate energy and building up our tissues. Thyroid hormones are dependent on that iodine to modulate that metabolic activity of our cells. That ensures that the nutrients are properly utilized where they need to be. Again, another thing is supporting our nervous system, or the functioning of our nervous system. Adequate iodine levels are going to be essential for our cognitive function, our memory, and our concentration. Also, it's going to aid in that neurotransmitter production up in our brain and our brain function. Iodine actually impacts the heart rate and blood pressure by essentially influencing the metabolic activity of our cardiac cells. Deficiencies can lead to bradycardia, which is a slow heart rate, and excessive will actually cause tachycardia, which of course is a fast heart rate. Another thing that iodine does in the body is help with immune system regulation. This was an interesting one for me because I didn't actually know this. Iodine has antimicrobial properties helping the body fight infections. I did actually know that iodine did that. Did you also know that it helps modulate the immune responses by, again, influencing our thyroid activity? Another thing is detoxification. Iodine actually assists in the elimination of heavy metals and halogens like fluorides, bromides, and chlorine, which actually compete with the iodine uptake in our thyroid. So to kind of segue off of that, I want to talk a little bit how iodine actually regulates our metabolism and our energy levels, especially for those of us that, are hoping to lose weight or that type of thing. It's important to note how our metabolism can be affected. One of the ways is activation of cellular energy production. Thyroid hormones stimulate the mitochondria, which are the energy powerhouses of our cells. It stimulates them to produce ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate. And that actually ensures that the cells are going to have sufficient energy for their functions. It regulates metabolism and energy levels with fat and carbohydrate metabolism. So iodine-driven thyroid hormones influence how the body breaks down the fats and sugars that we eat for energy. This actually determines whether the body stores the nutrients or uses them for fuel. Another way it's used in the body is by protein synthesis. Basically, the thyroid hormones encourage the synthesis of the proteins, which are vital for muscle repair, enzyme function, and, just basic overall tissue health. And finally, iodine helps with regulation of thermogenesis in the body. By increasing metabolic activity, the thyroid hormones are elevating the heat production, which is vital for maintaining our body temperature, especially in cold environments like where I'm at right now. Okay, so we talked about what iodine does in the body. Let's talk about what could happen if you have an iodine deficiency, because that could actually lead to a variety of health problems. And I do want to point out that this is not going to be an all-inclusive list. I am not a doctor, so I'm only going to be able to skim over some of these conditions. There are many other things that can affect your thyroid, Graves' disease, Hashimoto's, things like that, but we're only talking about iodine at the moment and not all the other issues with thyroid. So do please keep that in mind. But some health issues could be things like goiter. Goiter is an enlarged thyroid gland, and it's caused by the body attempting to capture more iodine from the bloodstream. And again, like I said, we're just skimming over these things. I realize that we could go way deep down into the weeds about each one of these conditions, but that's not what today is about. Another one of the things could be hypothyroidism, and this could actually cause symptoms of fatigue, weight gain, cold intolerances, hair loss, dry skin, and depression. And severe cases can be life-threatening. Another thing is cognitive impairment, the dreaded brain fog. So in children, the deficiency can impair brain development and actually lower the IQ. But in adults, it can lead to that brain fog and the poor memory. And then this one, if it pertains pregnancy complications, you could have increased risk of miscarriage, stillbirths, and developmental issues for your baby. And kind of tied into that will be impaired growth. In children, iodine deficiencies can actually stunt the physical growth and delay puberty. So we talked about what iodine is, why it's important for the body, and just a couple things that could happen if we don't have enough iodine in our body. But what is enough? How do we know? Well, the recommended intake of iodine for a day in adults is 150 micrograms per day. For pregnant women, it's recommended at about 220 micrograms a day, and if you're breastfeeding, 290 micrograms a day. It is important to note, though, that excessive iodine intake, anything over 1,100 micrograms a day for adults, can actually lead to thyroid dysfunction, such things like hyperthyroidism or thyroiditis, which is inflammation of the thyroid. You can't just assume, though, that your iodine is low. You should always speak to a healthcare provider before you make any changes to supplements that you may take or changes that you're going to do to your diet. There are tests that they can do to tell you if you are deficient. Okay, so now we know what it is, why we need it. What happens if we don't have enough? Your next question might be, am I getting enough on my animal-based diet or my carnivore diet? If you are eating seafood, dairy, or eggs regularly, you're likely getting a decent amount of iodine. As an example, just one serving of cod can provide up to 99 micrograms. That's actually 2/3 of your daily needs. Unfortunately for me, I don't eat cod, so that doesn't work for me. Oysters and shrimp are also an excellent source, and another is iodized salt. However, if you are like me and you switched to sea salt or Himalayan salt, then you would be getting little to no iodine from that source. And just an interesting little fact, iodized salt was actually introduced in the early 20th century to combat widespread iodine deficiency. So any hoozles. Other common places that you can get iodine in your diet, though, are going to be things like seaweed, kelp or nori, fish and shellfish, cod, tuna, shrimp, dairy products like milk, cheese, and yogurt, and of course, eggs. You could also take a supplement, potassium iodide or sodium iodide, in a multivitamin or a standalone supplement. If you do decide to supplement, though, I urge you to consult your healthcare provider first. But if you are looking for a supplement, it would just be my recommendation that you pick a potassium iodide or nascent iodine, which is what this one is. Not sponsored, nothing. This is the brand that I use. The bottom line, though, is this. Iodine is a vital nutrient. It supports your overall health. It especially supports your thyroid function. Whether or not you need to supplement will depend on your diet and other individual needs. I would be curious, though, or let me know in the comments below, do you supplement with iodine? What kind do you use? What have your experiences been in doing so, whether you do or you do not? And do you find that you're getting enough in your regular carnivore or animal-based diet? So I know this was a real short and sweet video. I just wanted to talk about iodine because I was putting it in my coffee in one of my videos, and I did have one of my viewers ask me about it. And I do not eat hardly any seafood. Occasionally I will eat salmon. Almost never do I have shrimp or anything like that. So for me, I feel like I am not getting enough. iodine, and therefore I supplement. But again, this is something that you would need to discuss with your healthcare provider. So thank you so much for tuning in today. If you found this video helpful, please like and please subscribe. And don't forget to check out some of my other videos on my journey to wellness following the carnivore or animal-based diet. But until we talk again, I hope you eat your meat.